If you want to contribute to the channel, feel free to click the link in the description. I have a new channel named CC Shorts. The link is in the description. Please subscribe and click the bell icon, and don't forget to press all so you won't ever miss a video.
The sheriff tells us it took 18 months to get the autopsy results because of a backlog at the state crime lab. The little girl's mom says she's been fighting to keep her memory alive. Detriana Smith told us Monday that she was happy to hear about murder charges prosecutors brought against the father of her youngest daughter and his wife. This a year and a half after the toddler died. A Claiborne County grand jury indicted Morris Beverly IV and his wife, Takia Beverly, capital murder charges in connection with the 2017 death of little Jariah Smith. And the sheriff tells us the couple will face a bond hearing later this week. A judge will decide whether they will get a bond and how high it will be. An attorney for the couple said they plan to plead not guilty to the charges.
Today is October 22nd, 2017. Time is 7:29 a.m. Clayton County Sheriff Department present at this time. State your name. Spell it for the camera.
TKIABEVILY.
Home line.
24.
Give me her current home address.
7032 Highway 61 South, Fort East, Mississippi 39150.
Give me her current phone.
601-408-1834.
You have a house phone to see your phone. All right. Where you employed?
Claiborne County Public Education.
What do you do there?
School nurse.
I'm asking about an incident involving Jariah. That's how you spell it? I mean, that's how you pronounce the name, right? Jariah Smith. He was 14 months old. Well, she was found deceased at your house this morning. In your own words, tell me what happened.
We got home from we were at the hospital in Vicksburg.
You were
Me, Aubrey, Jariah, and more.
Who y'all listening?
His mom is in stage COPD, and they told her yesterday was her last day. Or they didn't make it finish yesterday, so we went to the girl spend the day with her.
Graduate.
And so we left there about 9 o'clock, went to a wing spot in Fort Gibson to pick up more. So came to Fort Gibson, stopped at Pizza Hut to pick up my food, and made it home about 10, a little after 10. Both of the girls were asleep already in the car, so we just took them in the house and put Aubrey in her bassinet, or she changed the ride diaper, and then we put her in her crib, same way we do every night. On her stomach, the pillow, she has a big sheet on the bed and a regular sheet.
So she sleeps in
A crib.
crib by herself?
Mm-hmm.
What are the other ladies sleep?
She sleeps in our bedroom in the bassinet.
Okay. House was in it. Why do y'all put her in the room now by herself and not moving with y'all?
Well, because she's 14 months old. She's been in her crib since she was about 6 months old, and Aubrey just turned 6 months last Wednesday. So we were working on transitioning her out of our bed into her bassinet in about 2 months. And so she's been in the bassinet since then. So now since she's sleeping through the night, we were about to start working on transitioning her to her crib that's in the same room as Jariah.
So this something y'all do is having the baby sleep in another room. Okay, you go.
And then there's and the room, our room, maybe a few feet away from theirs, and both the doors are open, so we hear when they cry, or because obviously in her crib during the day when she gets down. Well, we went to sleep probably around 11 more than I did. And about 5:30, we woke up and asked if we had juice in the house. And I said, no, but there's some Powerade on the top of it. And he said, you can. So I went to get that, and we walked out of our room, and we walked through the nursery to get the nurse on our room, and I saw her face in the bed. We just about 10 minutes before.
Where else she was laying?
She was
Was she face down on the
face
side?
down. She was face down.
Or he to the side?
It was kind of like her face was in that little crease between the bed and the mattress. And so it wasn't to the side, but it wasn't straight down either. When I usually it's because she sleeps wide. So if I see her sleeping in an opposite position, I move her in correct position and go on. But when I touched her, she was cold. She was abnormal cold, and she was heavy. And being in the nursing position, I kind of had like a flashback, kind of sort of, or something seemed familiar, although it's new. And I immediately turned around. I went and got over and had him come here up and ask him if he saw how she was, and she wasn't responding to me when I touched her. And and he called 911, and he called her mom, and they came over and then they called us.
So how long you was gone after the more 20 times?
Not even 36.
36. And he called out.
Immediately after we found it, immediately after.
So, how long was the baby?
6 months.
6 months. Now, this is another question I gotta ask. How long y'all been married?
A year, about 14 years.
Okay. So this particular child here, there was something going on before y'all got married. You found another woman he was dealing with. Would you all relationship at that time?
Boyfriend, girlfriend.
Don't say boyfriend, girlfriend. And it's somebody else that's the way they have a child. Thank you. How long after this girl mother got pregnant? How long after y'all got married? Do you know?
She got pregnant in October 2015. I know, late October, one of those. And we got married July of next year. She was born 2 days after we got married. 3 days.
You were in the car?
Me and her were best friends. Well, not best friends, but we were really cool. The only problem we had is lack of communication. But she about me, but she called Morris, which is what she was for 6 years old, called Morris.
And she ever complained about his room?
You know, we did. At one point, when this was back in July, she was wearing her walk. And we looked outside in our backyard. We have like the smooth cement, and then we have like the rocky cement. And this was like when she just started, she just turned 1, and she was just learning how to walk. And she fell when she transitioned from the smooth cement to the rocky cement. And she hit her head straight on the ground. But I called Morris from Foot Locker and we took her straight to the hospital. And so she was fine. It was, typical for a baby learning how to walk. But that's pretty much it.
So y'all never had no issue problems like that. Y'all was 20 years old.
Uncle Gatsburg.
Okay.
We wasn't like, hey, let's go to the movies type thing. We were basically sister wives in a sense. Like she now, mind you, her and my husband were not in a relationship. It was a one night stand that resulted in a child. But we took the child as our own, and she was that, and that's why we had a good relationship because
Well, they ever look at the ones we have looked at, not the baby people. It was one night thing.
her both of them. I don't really know the next day.
Are you familiar with you say you were LVN, right? Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, I was scared for July and still now. Now I didn't know. I didn't think I seen it to be concerned in July.
Then they asked me this thing at the time.
You know, it's been rocky. You know,
What's the right?
the whole transition to Fort Dix. You know, get married, find out there's a child involved. The child is just beautiful. She's sweet. She's obedient. She was my first baby. That was my first baby. And we tried to do everything possible because it was always, when we did a lot, it was that we was trying to take the baby. And so she kind of took the baby from us a little bit, but then she realized that we weren't needing people. She let us start coming around more. And I mean, just the smallness of the city like this, you know, it's like Hattiesburg is a crowd with the city as well. And nobody wants to see nobody doing good. And I don't know, just when you talk to my husband, questions you ask me this thing because I know you gotta do a job. And I know you gotta accept questions. He's not right on his mama guy, woke up to this baby dead.
Who put the baby in the crib?
He did.
You played in the crib when y'all got home.
He was just upset and he turns on her nighttime song with the iPad was dead, so he did last night. Took her baby doll on the home. And matter of fact, when we tuck her in, it's like the bedroom, hallway, nursery, bathroom. He took a shower. I was cleaning up. She was fine because I remember when he opened the door from the shower, she was kind of like making noises in her sleep. But when I went in, because I opened the door, and I said, turn the water back on for me to do the shower. And I said, wait. And you could hear in the room, so she's like, But I said, hold on. So I went in and he said, I'm coming. I said, hold on. So I went up in there and I looked at her and her face, she was turned to the side. She was still basically in the same position we were in. I just thought she'd be able to talk her to sleep.
You say y'all have decided down the top of the booth.
She went to bed about 10. We went to bed about 11.
Y'all found her what time?
5.
You answer everything. Everybody's going to ready for that shit. What you do?
Yes, sir.
9/9/7/42 a.m. on 2022. 2017, I shared upon the one thing I never been section 92. That's going to end another good this time. You want to answer a question about Gerard Smith and what happened on the 23rd and 22nd, coming up to 22nd of October 2017? Your homework tell us from the beginning about what time you and Morris, your husband, got to present the drive from whoever y'all got it from today on the Saturday up until you found a career.
We picked Mariah up from Morgan Ave and I picked Mariah up from the Sticko gas station on 18 from Morris's Auntie Annie. Auntie Annie picked Mariah up from Morris's Auntie Nick, who Mariah stayed the night prior. We had received word that his mom, Morris's mom, was in the hospital, probably would make it past that day. So we wanted both the girls, Mariah and I, to spend time and be around his mom, Morris's mom. So we all went to River Region in Vicksburg. We met there around 12 o'clock and we stayed there all day until about 8:30, between 8:30 and 9 o'clock whenever we stayed at. And we left the hospital, went to the wing spot in Vicksburg. Cannot think of the name, but it's between the Mexican restaurant and Dollar General on 6 Highway 61. After picking up Morris's food, we went to Pizza Hut in Fort Dixie to pick up my food. After leaving Pizza Hut, we made it to the house. I was asleep. I believe Jariah woke when Morris got her out of the car. I put Aubrey in her basket. Morris brought Jariah to the bedroom, master bedroom as well, and later on did change it out. I was kind of stirred a little bit, so I went to, just coax her back to sleep. And then I tried to clean up a little bit from the mess we left when we got in the rush that morning, while Morris went into the shower. After Morris got out and getting out of the shower, I was going in to put my towel and my clothes in, and that's when I heard Jariah kind of making a noise. It's like top. It was real low, like top. And so I went at the more said, well, I'll go check. And I said, no, it's okay. I just get out the shower. I'll go check. And so I just looked over at her crib and she was in the same position that we had later, which was on her stomach, with her head turned to the right, with her baby doll in front of her and her blue red behind her and her sheet pulled up to like here. And she stopped. She stopped and I went back in the bathroom and then I would take my shower and I suddenly when we got in. I mean just went back to bed. Because when I got out he was already asleep. And he was hands on TV.
So he was sleeping, you got a shower.
Yeah, think about it. We had a game this Friday night. He worked from 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock, 6:30. We'll leave the house at 6:30 in the morning. And then it's out on the field until about 10. And he doesn't get home until about 11:30, sometimes after 12. And then he had community service that morning with capital of, I don't know, his awful. And so he had to get up and go to community service and be in Nashville. Not in Nashville. I think on Alcorn has his score 8, but he also has to go through a couple of football players that also are Catholic. But and I don't take a short shower. I'm in bed for like 10 minutes, so I would it was normal for me to come out from the shoot. But so we get to sleep. It was like 11 o'clock when both of us were asleep. And so oh, just wait, hold on. I completely forgot. I was just thinking, how was it a living and we get home at 10? More than I sat in the sunroom after both the girls went to bed. We sat in the sunroom talking. He had like a little breakdown about his mom. Um, and we sat out there for about 20, 25 minutes. So we went outside. It's like sunroom was usually still part of the house. And the hallway connects to both the nursery and the master bedroom. But then after that, that's when we was gonna take a shower. There we go. So then, he got in bed. When he was asleep, I got in bed. Turned the TV off. He woke me up around 5:30 and said, "Yeah, you just now." Said, "No, we got some power. Would you like me to put on ice?" He said, "No, no, put on your ice. Just bring me a bottle." So I said, "Okay." So I went to go through the I was normally walk through the nursery and was trying to look at whatever you want the kitchen, and I noticed that I was sleeping in what seemed to me was no comfortable position. And whenever I see her sleeping in what seems to me was an uncomfortable position, I usually move her. And when I went to move her, she was cold. And I already has a cold and has had a cold for like 6 months. We usually sleep in a cold house, and she's been sick. We can kind of see if sleeping warmer would help her not stay so sick. So it was odd for her to be so cold and as warm as it is now. And so that along with how heavy she was, how heavy and how sick she was, it really kind of like scared me. I'm half asleep, and it like scared me for me. So I went and I got more than I couldn't go check on Uriah. And he got out the bed, went to go, he turned her over, and she was still hurt, like, his arm was like stuck here. And then her legs were still in the position they were, and her mouth was, I didn't want to, I didn't look at it long, because I couldn't look at it long. So, but it looked like her face was conformed to the shape of the crib, the side of the crib. And I knew her face was in the blanket. And so when my mom got there, well, we got 911, so this was and then he called her mom and told her that there was a nurse who was riding, she needed to help. I kept trying to figure out, like, what happened, what happened, what do you do, what happened? Because she's 14 months old, she's 12 as you start wearing my seatbelt in my tent. And all she had in the bed was a funny red a shoe. She wasn't tangled in the shoe. Her face was, she did have a rather large size pillow in the bed. She was a big girl, so I didn't understand. I don't understand. So that's, we got it.
All right, basically, as you know, we've been conducting an investigation, been trying to figure out what the things that took place, and we just basically wanted to go back at least 72 hours to just basically to see how Uriah was doing. And you explained that you came in contact with Uriah October 21st at 12 p.m. at Citgo in Fort Gibson, Mississippi. That's the gas station that's located on Highway 18. And basically, when you saw her on October 21st at 12 p.m., she was in custody of Annie. Okay. And how was Uriah when she came into your custody? Or came into your custody?
She was calmer than usual. And she buzzed when I changed her clothes.
So you changed your clothes where?
In the car, in the backseat of the shorty moving because when we got her, she had on the dirty sleeping clothes that she had on from the night ride. And, I had brought an outfit from home to change her into.
Okay. And you said that, how was she acting?
Then she was calm, she wasn't playful yet, it takes a minute to warm up, but, she was calm, she ate some chicken, did more than inside the dog got, she was just fine.
Just fine. Then no signs, did you see, you distracted her with her clothes, so you had a good eye shot of her, you could see everything on her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see any signs of physical abuse or anything at that time?
Dry hands, really bad eczema. And I can't recall if the spot that cleared up that one time she had, it looked like it could have been burn marks, but that's just not there. Her eczema had gotten, they were like, she had patches, white patches on her legs.
This is Saturday?
No, I said I can't recall if they were there, but,
What did you observe on Saturday, October
nothing
21st?
abnormal. She was, but that's not, nothing out of the ordinary. I saw the normal,
So nothing
that
out of the ordinary.
along.
All right, what kind of clothes did you put on? You go, what was it?
She had on, after that, my mom had bought her, it was a pink strappy, but they weren't like straps, they were like thick straps that they went to. It was pink and it was like, they had like a few layers on it that has, the top part, and it was like sheer and sparkly.
What was it, a onesie?
It was shirt, she had on, it was, the top was like it was flowy, but it stopped right here, and she had on, a pink flower, and then she had on pink bottom.
Okay. So did you comb her hair?
Not that bad, because we were even to the hospital. I wanted to get her that morning, so I could do her hair and get her ready, because we were already planning on going to do the after we got out of, the community services, and her mom, they said that she needed some winter clothes, so we were planning on taking her to get that. And her Halloween costume that evening, that's what we told her mom. But when they said that we needed to be in the hospital, we stayed at the hospital all day.
Okay. So y'all pretty much, when y'all picked up your ride at Sicko, Highway 18, y'all left there and went to Vicksburg, Mississippi, the hospital where Morris's mother. Y'all was there about 1 o'clock, 12:30.
We got the ride around 11.
Okay.
About 11:30.
Okay.
We made Vicksburg a little after 12.
Okay, a little after 12, you were at the hospital. And that's where you guys remained until what time?
About between 8:30 and 9.
Did not leave the hospital. Okay, and Aubrey was in your care?
Well, actually, both of the girls were, that's like what I say, there was about 15 members there. So, both girls were left.
Okay, so they were basically, someone was handling the entire time they were there at the hospital. Okay, did you notice anything happened to any of the kids? Okay, nothing significant happened, no physical, did they make a mistake, or someone wanted to hit your head on something, or nothing? Okay, so basically, what time did you guys leave the hospital?
About 8:30. Between 8:30.
PM. Okay, and when you left the hospital, you guys walked out to the car, got in, what type of car was it?
I don't know if you were white.
That's your white Dodge Charger. And who were you carrying as you was walking out of the
I
hospital?
carried her on
You was carrying your right, and Mars was carrying Aubrey
in her car seat.
in her car seat. Okay, you guys put, where did you place it? What was the placement in the car?
Mariah's car seat sits behind my seat, and Aubrey's sits behind four, with kind of the seat, and the other seat. So basically, it's Mariah, and Mariah was in her car seat, I was in her car seat.
Okay. And so you were on the front passenger side. and you went to the, you got in the car, baby was buckled in your car seat, Mars got in, you guys proceeded to go 61 south to the wing place, and that's where you stopped. When you got to the wing place, what took place?
Well, heading to the wing spot, something started going weird with the car. It was like, felt like we made kind of a blowout. So we got to the wing spot, we both got out and looked at the big right tire. And so we felt the inside was small. So we actually, which I'm concentrating, we used the room and, Pittsburgh, and I forgot, we got 3 rooms, one not raining, or not wet, we should be burning. And, it was a beautiful day. So, we went inside, we had our 2020 little stuff playing, to keep the girls sweet. And went inside, checked on the car, they make a lot of food, and still wasn't done.
What would you do?
I was in the time up on Facebook.
I was on Facebook.
And he comes outside in the car and says, "I need to see that we in the car." And that was just the thing. You know, they went down my food, so I can, he was just
So
checking.
Jariah still sleep?
Trying to look up is a godsend for those.
Okay.
So,
So we got his,
yeah, he went back, he got his out, went inside, got his food, and came back out.
okay,
Got in the car, it was pizza good.
and y'all proceeded to make any sudden stops on your way from Vicksburg.
No, because like I said, we had to make sure we were driving carefully because they're very right side.
So you don't for a fact there was no jerking or anything of the sort. So nothing would cause the baby to hit anything in there? Okay, so you proceeded from the wing place to Fort Gibson, Mississippi? And when you got Fort Gibson, Mississippi, your first stop was?
Pizza good.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember who went in. Cause I'm pretty sure he was there late in that was me. So I'm pretty sure it was me. Yeah, cause I see it. I know he was going, you know, with a boy and boy. So Morris went in and he got it and came back out at the car. He went in there.
I was amazed when
Ran.
y'all still playing for the little star?
They had been up all day.
Okay.
They went up without a nap. They had just fallen asleep before we left the hospital. But, he was to get home and, that was the athletic side.
Okay. So I appreciate that, what you guys have.
Oh,
Were there any sudden stops in the car? No bumping or anything? So when you get home, what happened?
we went out to run it out. That she did wake up when we was the house and, I got Aubrey out. And she was still asleep. And, we opened the door, we opened the house. And, but just put Aubrey in her basement. He changed to right inside.
You changed your rider, what part of the house?
In the bathroom.
Okay.
On Aubrey, he put her back in the bathroom. And, then he went and put her later down in the crib.
What were you doing?
When he laid her down in the crib, I had gone to the front, I was finna try to start cleaning up. I was finna try to start cleaning up, and he said, and I don't know how I forgot that part. He said, "Can we talk?" And so we went and said,
This is before he shot.
this is before he shot. And said in the sunroom.
Okay.
And, we said, I can't talk for you, and I told him that of course, I don't understand how he's feeling because I had lost my mom is deceased. You know, we just had a husband and wife talk to him, so.
So Jariah went back to sleep?
Just right, and we never had a problem. Since Jariah started, we put Jariah, when we first moved into this house, Jariah was sleeping in the bedroom. And then one day, we were in Jet as a mom with Jariah Ward. And her mom, this was like in February, January, her mom called and said that DHS was coming to our house in the state because she had a call, somebody called in on her, and they were coming to our house, and we were supposed to have these long list of stuff to make the house appropriate for July. Which included a crib, which we didn't have yet, we just moved into the house at Christmas. And, so we went to Walmart, and now we got a crib, little outlet plugs, we got smoke detectors and all kinds of stuff to abide by the DHS we need to have. And, so that's why we put July in the crib, because DHS we need to find or something to do. And then the third night we put her in her crib, it was like, when you laid her in there, you say, all right, time of night, she would lay down, would not argue. Even if she didn't go straight to sleep, she would lay down until she fell asleep. So we never had a problem with her laying down and going to sleep, ever. She was that obedient. You say lay down for night, she would lay down until she fell asleep.
Okay, so on October 21st, Saturday night.
She did not wake up.
While you guys were in sunroom, your ride was asleep. Okay. All right, and how long would you estimate y'all in the sunroom? 25 minutes in the sunroom talk. And after that?
After that, he went to take a shower. And that's when I started finishing up what I was doing in the room. And, then he was getting out of the shower, the door was open, I heard